What's going on, guys? My name's Turncoat, and today we're going to be learning about the workers that you can hire and the tasks that you can automate in Schedule 1. Now, this took a couple of days of trial and error because I couldn't find any tutorials anywhere online, so I do hope this answers a lot of the questions that some of you are spamming the Discord with. As a bit of a disclaimer, I've never made anything like this before, so please excuse the editing. I'll include some timestamps below if you'd like to skip ahead. Cheers. The first thing we're going to learn about are the employees that you can hire. These are unlocked after you gain access to the warehouse located across the street from the motel. In order to gain access, you'll have to reach Hoodlum level 5. Inside the warehouse, there are 3 NPCs and a guard. Oscar sells grow equipment, some chemistry gear and other things, and will accept cash. Stan sells things such as firearms and melee weapons. The NPC that we need is up here. Today we're focused on hiring staff, so walk in, head upstairs and talk to Manny. Manny will give you a quick rundown on what each employee is capable of and what it costs to hire them. We're going to start with the cheapest and work our way up. The cleaner is used for rubbish disposal and can be assigned up to 3 trash cans, with each trash can having a radius around it, as you can see here. I personally have never hired a cleaner, but I can understand you not wanting to live in filth. The cleaner will cost a $1,000 signage fee as well as $100 a day. The handler is used for transporting items and ingredients between your workstations and to package items at packaging stations, whether in bags, jars or bricks. A handler will cost a $1,500 signage fee as well as $200 a day. The botanist is in charge of your plants. They're capable of planting, watering, trimming, drying and applying certain products to your plants such as fertilizer or growth regulators. The botanist will come with their own tools, so you don't need to give them trimmers or a watering can. All you need to supply them with is seeds, soil and any enhancement chemicals you want added to the plants. A botanist will cost the same as the handler at $1,500 signage and $200 a day. The chemist controls the chemistry stations, ovens, cauldrons and mixing stations. They can cook products on the chemistry station, transfer and cook the product in the oven, and then move the final product to wherever you desire. They're also capable of using cauldrons, but we won't get into that today. For today's video, we're going to automate a weed farm, from seed to final product, involving 5 cutting ingredients, but you can scale it up and down for however many cutting agents you want to include. I'm demonstrating this in the docks warehouse so that I've got plenty of space for you guys to see what's happening, but feel free to build this in any other location as well. Here's the items we'll need: 8 plant pots, 8 suspension racks, 8 grow lights, soil and seeds, whatever cutting agents you'd like to use. Today we'll be crafting up a GDP mix using 5 ingredients, 8 large storage racks. Here's where the scaling happens depending on what you're doing. We have 1 storage rack for the botanist supply, 1 storage rack for a handler to take the baggies to the packing table, 1 storage rack where the final bagged up product will go, and 5 more racks, 1 for each cutting agent in our mix. We need 1 mixing table for each cutting agent, in our case 5, and lastly we need 1 packaging station. For the employees, we'll need 1 botanist to cultivate the plant and move the trim product to our first mixing table, 2 chemists. The chemists can use 3 mixing tables each. Since we have 5 cutting agents, we'll need 2 chemists. And finally, 2 handlers. The handler can have up to 5 routes as well as an assigned packing station. We have 5 ingredients, this means 5 different storage racks. The reason for the second handler is to automatically move the empty baggies to the packaging table. If you'd like to move the baggies yourself, you can cut it down to just 1 handler. Bear in mind you're also going to need 1 bed for each employee, as well as the cash required for their daily wages. First we'll set up the botanist. Place down your suspension racks, your grow lights and your pots. Next we'll place a large storage rack to serve as our botanist supply. This is where he'll take the seeds and soil from. In this large storage rack, I like to fill 2 slots with extra long life soil and the rest with seeds. Because the extra long life soil lasts for 3 plants, Using this ratio of 1 soil to 3 seeds makes them run out at the exact same time. Next we need to put down 5 storage racks and fill them each with our separate cutting agent. The order you cut the product with matters, so I like to place them in order on the racks. Be sure not to forget what order they're in when you're restocking the shelves later. Next, throw down your mixing tables, one for each cutting agent. Here we're using 5. And lastly, we need a packaging station and 2 large shelves. One to hold the packaging materials like baggies or jars, and another for the handler to store the packed product. Now we're going to start assigning tasks. Beginning at step 1, head over to your botanist. Make sure you assign him a bed and throw some cash in his briefcase. You'll need to do this with every worker. After he's got a place to sleep and a salary to live off, assign him his supply shelf that we placed earlier. Then assign him all 8 of the pots. You can shift click to do multiple pots at once. Now with your clipboard out again, head over to the pots and select which seed you want them to plant. We're doing all 8 pots GDP, so that's what we'll set the recipe to. Now using the clipboard again, assign each pot's destination to our first mixing table. This will ensure that the botanist takes the trim product over to the start of the cutting process. Next, we'll put the handlers to work. After giving them beds and cash, assign handler number 1 5 different routes. These 5 routes are taking the cutting agents to each separate mixing table in the process. I've done them in order here so it's easy to follow. Agent 1, the Coke, goes to mixing table 1, and so on. Handler 2 will be in charge of taking baggies from the shelf to the packaging station and also taking the actual end product to the empty shelf where we'll keep it. Handler 2 is not in charge of bringing the final mixed product to the packaging station. That's what the chemist is for. The chemist will be in charge of mixing. We're going to assign chemist 1 to the first 3 mixing tables and chemist 2 to the final 2 tables, meaning there's going to be a spare slot for chemist 2's workstations. You can have him cook something on the side if you'd like. Now, similar to a conveyor belt, we need to set the output destination of each mixing table to the next one in line. Table 1's end product goes to table 2, 2 to 3, and so forth. When we reach table 5, our last table, that table's end product's destination should be set to the packaging station. Now, if all the supplies are there, everyone should be hard at work in no time. Bear in mind that if it's the first time you're trying a new mix on the mixing table, you'll need to click OK on the New Mix Discovered screen. If you don't, the worker will not move it onto the next table. Once you've done this once, it won't have to be done again. And that's it. The botanist should be farming the plant and taking it to the mixing table. The chemists are mixing each step of the process and moving it onto the packaging station. The handlers are taking our cutting agents from the shelves to the mixing tables and also packaging up the final product. Now that everything's running smoothly, we need to keep it that way. So here are some things you need to stay on top of. Cutting agent supply. I like to get the cutting agents delivered, then move them to their respective shelves. If you want to save some money on delivery fees, you can go and buy these from the gas stations, but you'll need to make a few trips. Botanist supplies. Remember, the botanist only needs soil and seeds provided you're not using any enhancement chemicals, but if you are, just include these in the botanist supply shelf. Container supplies. Jars or baggies. Make sure this shelf is always full of whatever you're choosing. Wages. This is one that I think catches a lot of people out. If you're wondering why your worker's not working and you didn't think to just go up and ask them, it's quite likely because you're not paying them. Make sure their briefcases are always filled up so you don't have to keep heading back to their beds all the time. And that's it. Your own automated weed farm with very little work for yourself. Please share this one around, especially if you see anyone in the games Discord asking about it. If I missed anything, or there's any way to make it better, please leave a comment down below. Special thanks to NoCab in the Schedule 1 Discord for brainstorming this with me initially.